Hello, I'm back out for another video, another filler video. I'm not on a big tour, not on a big ride, and I find it difficult sometimes to think of things to do, but this is a video that's been requested, genuinely requested, I'm not just saying it, and that is how I film my bikepacking videos. I've got quite a bit of experience of it now, and I thought I'd show you how it works. Now, as filming myself in public is difficult enough, film myself in public would be entirely a bridge too far. So I've got my producer, director, and now cameraman with me today, and he's going to help me out. So say hello.
Hello. Hello. I don't know if it'll pick me up.
Say hello closer.
And then loud mower.
The mower.
Background.
I'm going to have a word with this guy. Does he know who I am? So that bit you just watched was filmed with this camera, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. We'll go into gear later. But basically anything when I'm not on the bike, I use this camera, because if I drop it, which I will, if I was on the bike, it would disassociate itself. I do everything like that with the GoPro. And now I'm going to do some B-roll stuff, which Ross will have cut into that introduction. See, this is how it works.
I'll film you filming B-roll.
Yeah, film me filming B-roll. So the equipment. This is the bag I use. I've recently switched to this. It's an outer shell 137 rando bag. And the key thing with it is it opens this way. So when I'm sat on the bike, I can get in, get everything I need without having a lid in the way. Also, it's got this one-handed opening thing, which is really, really useful. I'll do a review on that bag soon. So, first of all, the drone controller. This is the one with its own screen, not the one that utilizes your phone. I didn't want to hassle with all that. I can just imagine it being a problem. Drone controller. Then the drone with its broken arm. So this is a DJI Mini 3 Pro. The other drone I've got, which is in the back bag, I won't bother getting it out, is a Mini 3 something. It's never been out the bag, it's not been flown yet, but this thing is pretty remarkable. Notice that I could pull both those things out without having to get in boxes and open things. It needs to be a one-step process. I've got two of these tripod things, and the GoPro has got this attachment on it which screws onto those tripods. That lives in this top tube bag, so I can grab it out and put it away whenever I want. The Osmo, which Ross is holding now and filming me with, lives in one of these stem bags, again, so I can pull it out and get at it at any time. It all has to be easy. There can't be two-step processes to filming. Sometimes I just see something quick and I need to get out quick, and sometimes I just need to make it easy because I'm not in the mood. I've got two of these GoPro cases, and we'll quickly go through what's in here. The top one, so we got the mic for the DJI Osmo. We've got a spare battery for the Osmo, spare battery for the drone, 3 spare batteries for the GoPro, cable, USB-C to C. This is a 10,000 milliampere hour battery pack. This is a 20,000 milliampere hour power bank. 2 more cables. So that's that one. The other one has this case with multiple SD cards, a power adapter. I've gone with one that's pretty bulky, but it charges quick, and that's important, super important. When you're in town, it's worth even charging a power bank for 10 minutes with this power brick. Another spare battery for the Osmo. Another 10,000 milliampere hour battery pack. It's a lot of weight in this front bag. This is a USB-C interface for memory cards, SD cards. You'll see soon we're going to do or give you an example of how I upload stuff. Sometimes I need to use this, sometimes not. And then a spare phone. So I have had phones fail on me on the trail, and it's a nightmare. It's almost like the world ends for me because I rely on these so much. So I carry a spare phone now, and that lives in that case. And that's pretty much it. Oh, in here. So I've got spare propellers for Tom. I've got a little screwdriver, spare knob things for the controller, spare screws. This is all spares for the drone in case I crash it, which I do often. So, you'll probably see there that my GoPro is kept here in the top tube bag. And whenever I'm riding along just along a lane like this, if I see anything interesting, I like this because you've got the trees either side, it's a bit of an archway. I can just reach in quickly, grab the GoPro. sits on this little tripod head, and for just about everything I do, I'll be hand holding the GoPro, with the odd exception, but 99%. I like the GoPro because you can just press start and it just starts recording. It couldn't be easier. This is the main camera angle I use. I do experiment sometimes. I go down a bit low, try and get a bit of a wheel in. Just something to make it a little more interesting, I suppose. Vary the shots. And then when I'm done, just press the top button, click it off, back in the top tube bag, and then I can carry on. Sometimes I'll put the camera up behind my head, try and get that sort of view, and obviously occasionally to the side, so you can see things like those hay bales over there. The GoPro is just so easy to use, very, very simple. So, the ride-by shots, that's another big part of the filming. Usually I'm just looking around, always trying to find something interesting, some sort of background feature maybe, or even like some nice flowers and stuff to put in the foreground. But it varies. Generally, I'm going to try and find something now and then show you how I set up and what the thought process is. And this actually looks good enough. Some nice little village, some nice little streets. Yeah, we'll stop here and do something. This is the little tripod I use. It's just one of these flexible leg ones, and I got two of these. I always have a spare because they don't seem to last, although of course when I bought two of these they do last, so I carry one for nothing. It just screws on, so that's, you know, when it's handheld it works like this, and when I got the tripod on it works like this. It's actually really good. It's just a ball head sort of thing. So this bench, you need to set the camera up so you can frame the shot. This is probably not the kind of shot I would generally do, but this is only for demonstration purposes. And I started recording. And then we need to ride that way out of shot and come back and hope nobody steals this. Nobody has yet. Right, part one done. Now I've got to spin it around, face this way, because I put the bike in the wrong place, and set it up for the riding away shot into the distance. That looks good. Start it recording, and I was freewheeling, so I've got to remember that too. Go. As for the drone, I'm usually just riding around looking for anything interesting, and it's difficult because you never know what's coming, and it does take a little while to get the drone up, and I've always got that sort of idea that something better is going to come up round the corner. And it is a very important part of the videos, I think, the drone. I get a lot of comments from people who say they love the drone shots. Notice I automatically then move the camera from me to pointing forward, so there's a transition into the next riding along shots, something I learned after Ross told me to do it probably 58 times. So there is a bit of a process with the drone for me anyway. Annoyingly, I can't do it when I've got my sunglasses on, so I have to switch to my normal glasses, and then the drone is in here. You all remember Tom Drones, and I have a spare one in the back there, so I carry two drones now. But yeah, he's still going, so I'll turn him on. So whilst that's booting up, I'm usually screwing these things on. It takes a little while for him to get going. Up he goes. So now I'm going to try and have to decide what sort of shot I want. I'm thinking of sending it over the field, which you might see now. Right, let's get a good shot. What I'm always trying to do is set it so we're out of shot or I'm out of shot and ride into shot. I think that's the best way. And then there's two things I tend to do. I don't know how to use this drone properly, I confess. It can do a lot more than I use it for. But usually I'll just send it straight up in the air so it just starts to see more as I'm riding. Or I'll have it fly along with me and past me. And then, frankly, that's easier because I can stop once it's out of shot and fly it around. So let's try maybe doing that. Right, let's go. We're going to ride through and then I'm going to just have it shoot straight up in the air until we're out of shot and then I can stop. You'll see what I mean. Let's go. So now I'm out of shot, I can start panning around and showing you what's out here. Well, the British countryside is beautiful really, isn't it? As you're going to see. Cool, and that'd be it. Now, I've got to try and get it back before it runs out of battery. And I generally lose it. There is a special button on this called home. And if you press that, it comes back on its own. And I mean, for me, it's essential. I have no sense of direction on the ground, let alone up there. I don't know whether it's over there. I genuinely don't. This return to home thing, honestly, I'd have lost this drone 1,000 times.
Landing.
Landing?
Where?
I don't know. I see it. It's all the way over there. See it?
Yeah.
Here he comes. As simple as that. It takes a while, I have to say. The drone shots take a while, but they're worth it. I said earlier, I think that's a large part why the channel had a bit of a period of doing really well, especially on the divide. I mean, that's the only way you can capture those kind of landscapes is with drone, I think. It just all looks so ordinary from the ground. Right, put this away and then we can ride on. So that's about it as far as capturing the footage. Anyway, you'll probably see it's not that difficult. You've got to learn the gear, how it works, but that's about it. I think the harder part really is deciding what to film and knowing when and how much. And I've definitely got better over the years, which it has been now, at doing that. I think I am trying to capture my experience. I never thought that YouTube would be something, or these videos are things that other people would really want to watch. And the way I go into it is I'm always looking to document my experience. I'm trying to tell a story in a way of what these rides are like. I think what I'm trying to say is that shot choice and what you capture in order to tell the story of the ride is definitely the most challenging part. But that's just something that comes with time. And I want an authentic experience. And I think that's why, you know, people like these videos. I hope that's the case anyway. That wasn't easy. So, just because it's a cool looking shot with the railway lines, I'll try and do a ride by here. And that's another example of what I'm looking for. Anything that's a bit interesting. You don't want to just watch a bike riding through grass all the time, do you? Or maybe you do. The GoPro was overheated, by the way. So, sensibly, I'm leaving it in the sun to cool down. I gotta find shade. So I can see here, I can't see the railway line. So it's not going to work. That's the downside of having a short tripod. But this is another example. I really do want to capture this shot. I think it's going to be a good one. So I think I'll get the drone up and we'll do something with that. I just like anything with lines in it. You know, the railway line's always good. You know, I've got an obsession with bridges. So I think it's worth getting that up. One thing to note, by the way, obviously the drone, when that's up, there's no audio. Otherwise it'd just be whirring propellers. So I will then have to film some ambient riding noise for Ross to dub over.
You will.
Yeah, I will. And I forget.
And you remember that every time, don't you?
Of course, yeah. I never forget that. You don't have to hunt through footage looking for similar terrain.
No.
He hates me, and he's justified. Let's get the drone up. Right, so we're going to get this up now. It's only got 46%. That is a challenge with the drone. The battery doesn't last. I'm going to send it over there. I think that's a good shot. Yeah, that's cool. Right, and we need to ride out a shot now. So we're at a shot now, and we're gonna ride through, and then we're gonna try and get the drone to fly over us as we go. Try and get it to intercept us. These are the fun shots. You'll find out, or you'll know probably soon, whether it worked or not. I think that worked. I think that was a good shot. I really enjoy the drone shots, I have to say. I know I said it earlier, but I get a lot of satisfaction from them. I should probably learn how to use this properly. So the next step is to find somewhere where I can get some Wi-Fi, and I'll show you how I upload, my upload strategy and all that. We're just looking now at, I'm tracking this ride, by the way. You can have a look on Strava. I'm going to put this one up. We've done 9 kilometers in 2 hours and 5 minutes, so it's the most confusing ride, but it does go to show how long stuff takes. Clearly today is a bit of an unusual one because I'm filming more than usual. Incidentally, I don't put all of my rides. I have been out exercising, but I've realised I can't put all of my rides from the house on because people can then find out where I live. And I know I'm not Brad Pitt or anything, but it's probably not a good idea to announce your address on the internet. You understand. One other quick thing I've just thought of. If I have something to say to camera, I always try to make sure there's some sort of riding shot in between. Otherwise it's just clips that are very disjointed of me talking to the camera from different places. You need to convey the sense of having travelled between them. So, another bonus tip. So we're at a pub. I'm getting a coffee, we're getting some food, but this is a good example of what happens when you're on the trail. Now, first thing I do, get on their Wi-Fi and start uploading from the GoPro and the drone onto my phone. So I'll show you that quickly. I'm not going to go into too much detail because this video is going to be too long, but I use the GoPro Quick app. And I do it wirelessly. I used to plug the GoPro into the phone via the USB-C cable, but I don't need to anymore. I don't know, in some update that came up recently, it's a lot quicker now to do it wirelessly. So I connect to the app and then just wait for that to connect. And then view media. And this is basically what I'm doing, is I'm uploading to the phone. So it takes the footage from the GoPro, puts it on the phone, and then automatically starts uploading to the GoPro cloud. So here we go. Do something like that. And I do download. Now I can just sit and wait for that to upload. And then once that's done, I'll start doing the drone. I'll come back in a minute. Intermission, the food's come. Frickles. So, the GoPro footage has now been uploaded to GoPro Quick on the phone, and it automatically just goes off into the cloud. Whenever it gets Wi-Fi, it'll just start uploading. I don't have to think about that anymore, it's there. And that also means the footage is duplicated from the GoPro onto the phone. I have 2 copies of the data. I always try and have 2 copies. The next step is to do the same with the drone. So I'll turn that on. Similar process, but I have to go through a different app. And I'm going to use DJI Fly. You go on to quick transfer. This is not quite so seamless. I have issues with this from time to time, but the same sort of thing. I'm going to download wirelessly. My login session is going to expire. Okay, it's not working. Let's try it again. It works second time. Connected. So you can see these are the files from today. I'll highlight them all and then download. You can see the progress at the top. It gives you a percentage. This will just drop on and off and in and out all the time. It's flaky at best. This is working quite well at the moment. It's at 25% already. I think it's remarkable how quickly you can transfer wirelessly these days. And these are big files. These are 4K files.
How has this changed from when you first were doing these trips then, like the GDMBR?
I did the same thing with the drone, but I had to physically wire the GoPro to the phone in order to transfer the data. And this was the problem then. Such a process. It kept crashing and failing, and sometimes it wouldn't even recognize the GoPro. They've done something. I don't know what it is, but the GoPro is no problem anymore. In fact, I would go so far as to say that this is 100% reliable. It never crashes. It overheated earlier. I don't know what to say about that. I got this Wind Slayer thing, which maybe I didn't mention earlier. This is a little foam cover for the GoPro, and it blocks all the wind, and it works so well. It's ridiculous. I don't use any mics. I don't use any of those things with this. I would show you. So Ross is holding the Osmo now, and but it's exactly the same as the drone. It's going to be the same process because it's the same software. So I won't bother doing that. But that's the 3 devices I've got to do this every night, and it takes probably at least an hour, I would say, to transfer all of the footage from these devices onto the phone. If everything goes well, sometimes it can take a little longer. But we'll bring you back when this is all uploaded, and I'll show you how I get it from the phone. So this is not going into the GoPro app, but I can put it into the GoPro app. So there's a little technique for doing that, which we'll show you when it's all done. So everything's now been taken from the drone, and it's in my phone under photos. So you can see all the photos there. Now the next thing to do is to go back into the GoPro app, GoPro Quick, go to media, click on phone, and then I can highlight the drone shots. And the only way I know how to do it is to say make edit. So what that does, it imports the video files into the app, and then it makes a stupid little movie thing with terrible music, which you would never use. You can see it here. It's actually quite funny. It's like a highlight reel of how badly I do stuff. We'll close out of that, and I can click discard and edit and exit. But now you'll see in the app we have the drone shots in there, and they're going to just automatically upload to the cloud when we get Wi-Fi. That's the process. I'll just reinforce the process for the Osmo is the same as for the drone. It's all the same, and that's how I do it. What it means, and I'll say it again, I have the footage on the SD cards, I have the footage on the phone, so I've got a duplicate. I've never lost footage. What I'll do then, once the footage gets uploaded to the cloud, I'll delete it from the memory cards, so it's still in the cloud and on my phone, and then I delete it from everything from the phone once the video has been published. So yeah, pretty much belt and braces, I think you call that. I just don't ever want to lose footage. Put all that effort into filming, and I don't want to lose any of it. So that's my bit done. I'm always happy once everything is on the phone, uploading, it's all done. I don't have to do anything more. It all then becomes the responsibility of this man here.
It does. So when you get it onto the cloud, then that's where I take over, isn't it?
I'm out, yeah.
The cloud is amazing because it's, obviously we're using today as an example of just a little ride. We're showing how we do these things. What we're showing is how it works when you're away on the other side of the world. I mean, quite literally last time you were on the other side of the world.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I'll probably overlay a few clips here. It's a bit of a clunky process. I have to download all the clips. Often it fails. It might need trying a few times. There's a limit on how many you can kind of download at one time. And the volume of clips has greatly gone up over time.
You said that I've started uploading more and more since I've started.
Yeah, which is
surprised me.
I'd always kind of thought it seems like more, which is obviously a good thing because it means that I have more options, and you are obviously finding more stuff to film. You're probably more confident, I imagine, speaking to the camera, just saying things as you go. Because
Could be.
on the Great Divide, it was something like sort of 25, 30, maybe 40 clips a day. On the TA recently, there were probably 70, 75 clips a day, often, sometimes even more than that.
That's a lot.
But like I said, I'm reluctant to complain about the cloud, because it is incredible. You know, like I said, it's hundreds of gigabytes of files that I download over the course of a trip. It's amazing that we can even do it. I think 5 years ago
it wouldn't
how
have been a
would
thing,
it?
no. And what it means is, you know, we were going to touch on it. It means you can edit these videos and get them out in real time.
Yeah, well, as close to it as I can.
You know, it's nice that when you're watching something to know that it's actually happening.
And people can interact with you, you know, with the comments and things
Which
like
they
that,
do,
which they do.
yeah,
I mean, particularly when things were a little bit smaller on the GDPR, you know, you would have people who you'd have back and forth with through the trip, wouldn't you? You know, I mean, you'd kind of chat through the comments
it was
about
amazing.
things that were coming up.
Yeah,
and stuff
so it
like
works
that.
for me as well. Yeah.
With the increase in footage you provide, like I said, it gives me more options for how to cut the story together, how to cut the episodes to show your trip. That's always the idea, I think, with the editing. You're getting the footage, and I'm putting it together in a way which hopefully feels like people can follow along with the journey.
Definitely. The flow. Yeah, so they're following along with the journey.
Yeah.
But you're making every episode flow.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, you do, definitely.
That actually ties into something you've spoken about recently, and that we started the memberships, because compared to, I think, probably the GDMBR, I wouldn't know exactly, but from that footage, I think maybe I was cutting 45 minutes to an hour of footage per episode down to about half an hour, something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's more like 2.5, maybe even 3 hours of footage to cut down to 30 to 45 minutes.
And you have
usually.
to do that, don't you? Because the flow, you know, the way that the videos drop off, the engagement drops off.
Mostly there'll be odd member video at other times, but I think mostly it'll be on the big trips, on the things where I have so much footage, because I'm always getting to a point where I'm cutting out stuff which is good, you know, it's good stuff, particularly things like nice drone shots or shots of, you know, trails and things like that, and some just chat, you know, general chat. I'm cutting bits which I think that's good, but I need to get the video down to time. So the idea is I'll kind of do one where I leave everything. Been tapped by a spider.
Yeah.
My thinking is I'll do a draft through, which I kind of do anyway, a draft, but I'll leave anything that I think is good.
Yeah.
And that will be the member
There's
video.
some people out there that like it, you know, that's it.
And then I'll cut it down to what the video would be anyway. Because we're always a bit, you know, you've said, haven't you, but I haven't been in the video to say, I think we're always a bit unsure about doing something which is behind a paywall. But the actual main video will be exactly the same. It's just if people want a longer one, can have a longer one.
What is wrong with you? But if you do, have a look, join, you know. Well, we did it for $1.99 a month, didn't we?
Yeah.
And so it's not like we're looking to make a fortune out of this. It's literally just so we can put longer edits out of the videos without it affecting the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, and destroying our stats, because that's what would happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after downloading the footage off the cloud, then I'm already making the decisions around kind of how much footage I'm going to use per video. I'm talking about the long trips that I'm here, really. So you've got trips that last, you know, a month, 2 months, something like that. I'm always thinking about where to cut the videos. Usually it's about 4 or 5 days. Yeah. Or it might be, you know, say with New Zealand, I knew when you went from the North to South Island, I'd want to end the video at that crossing, because it just makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But generally I'm not forcing it, I'm just seeing how many clips I've got. So that's the first choice, and then I bring it into Premiere Pro, which is what we edit on now. I've edited on there for about a year now, which is the most common, it's the most well-used editing software. Premiere Pro. It is also expensive, it's all subscription services. We actually got quite a good deal, because we've got the entire suite, haven't we?
I don't know.
Yeah. You did.
You said this is what we want, and then I said
it was on a sale, so we basically got the entire thing for about what Premiere Pro would have been on its own. So
excellent.
I think it's only for a year. After that, who knows?
Yeah.
So we edit in that now. About a year ago, I started editing in there. Before that, we used Cyberlink Power Director, wasn't it?
Cheap.
Which was cheap. Yeah, that was about £40 for the whole year. It's still a subscription. Everything's subscription now. You can't just buy software.
Horrible, isn't it?
That was perfectly good. What we needed. It was simple to pick up. It is quite simple. Actually, one of the reasons I decided finally that it was time to move away from that is because they started to make it too complicated. They started to add too many features, and it made it really clunky, and it glitched out, and it was really, if that was one where they just kept it as a simple version of an,
you would have stuck with it.
Well, yeah, certainly for longer. But you definitely don't, you know, for the maybe few people that are watching this interested in the actual editing or getting into editing or editing for their own channel.
It would do the job, Power Director.
Absolutely would do the job. I mean, the GDMBR long movie, by far the most successful video we have on the channel in terms of views, that was all done on that.
Yeah,
and that was absolutely fine. So, but
and
yeah,
all
so
filmed on the GoPro as well. There was no Osmo.
Yeah, no Osmo, and the drone, of course. But
the drone,
yeah. But it is, I mean, that does show, doesn't it? You can do it quite simply for these sort of trips, you know, for this sort of stuff. Drones add a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But really, the GoPro, the drone and the GoPro, that was all you needed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that and the £40 a year
£40
software.
piece of software, yeah.
so
and neither of us really knew what we were doing.
No.
How amazing.
No,
How
so
amazing.
yeah, interesting. Anyway,
one last. Have you got? Was that your point finished?
I'm going to check.
Because one last thing. People, I get this question all the time, not so much in the comments, but people I know say, how do I know when to do the sign-offs for the videos?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the secret is I do a sign-off every night.
Yeah.
So every night I say thank you for watching and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, there was on the TA, I was getting to the end of the penultimate day,
Yeah.
and you started doing a sign-off, and I was like, why are you signing off? I'm obviously not going to end the video one day before the end. And then literally a second later, you said, oh, actually, I don't really need to do a sign-off tonight, do I? So,
Yeah, the
but
thing is, it's
I think-
it's automatic.
and I
It's
think at
just-
the end of the day, your brain is probably not
Oh, yeah.
engaged.
I don't
fully,
want to
is
make
it?
those decisions, so every night I do the same thing, which is sometimes I see
Yeah.
them and they're half-assed.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yes.
yeah, if this is the end of the video, do this, do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because sometimes I get to a sign off, which is like really, it's a good sign off, a lot of
Yeah.
energy. You say all the things you meant to say, and I was like, oh, I'm not into the video here. Can't really use that.
I say all the things I meant to say.
Well, it's all stuff you've added yourself.
I
but,
know,
yeah.
Thanking
the right people and saying, yeah.
That's funny.
So I'll show a bit of the actual editing process in a bit, but we were planning out this video, weren't we? Or, making a few notes, and I think that the actual editing stuff, it's tricky because I don't know how much to show. It's kind of in the same way that your filming is fairly simple. The editing is, I do fairly simple stuff on there. Anyone who knows editing would not learn anything from me, so it's kind of
It's not an instructional thing.
but I'll show a bit of that stuff in a bit. But I thought first it was maybe interesting to just have a quick chat about the kind of thinking, in the same way that you spoke earlier about your thought process to making a video, what underlies your choices of what films, what to shoot, basically.
Yeah.
Just fly around everywhere. Yeah, some of the choices we made early on in how we want to put together a video. Obviously, you don't edit.
No.
And you're not involved in the process at
Not
all.
at all, no,
But
no.
we at least, I think early on, and as we go, we chat about things. So I think there's still like kind of a philosophy of our video, of the editing, if that's not too grand a word anyway.
It's
So-
a good word, yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Just a note, as a side note, Ross does all the editing, I have no input whatsoever.
No.
We decided early on that that's the quickest way to fall out with anyone,
Yeah.
isn't it? So
It's funny, the first two videos we kind of did a bit together,
Yeah.
and then
and fell out immediately. No, we didn't. But it's just one of those things.
I think it was particularly from the GDMBR, because I think before then I was getting your input a bit
Yeah,
sometimes.
well, maybe, yeah,
Whereas on
yeah.
that, it was just like, well, that's just my
and
side
it
of
works.
things now.
It
Yeah,
works. I don't
does.
want to be doing that. I don't want to. It's your bag.
Yeah. So the first thing to say is, I think, as most people have noticed, we made the choice quite early on not to use music. We did use music in a couple of the early videos.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite interesting how that goes on to affect the videos, from there
Yeah.
forward.
Well, it's the way that you told me something, didn't you, about how you edit them now without the music.
Yeah.
You can't be lazy.
No,
The
well,
footage has to
yeah.
speak for itself.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with using music in bikepacking or outdoorsy type videos. Foresty Forest, you've mentioned before. I think
He
everyone-
gets away with it, doesn't he, somehow?
he uses it really well because
Yeah.
he uses good music in the right spots. It's kind of it adds to the video. But there is a reason why we chose not to use music, and I think that first off, the stock music that's free isn't very good mostly.
true.
YouTube do have some free stock music, but it's not great. There's the odd one which we used early on, and basically you spend a lot of time trying to search for mediocre music that doesn't really add much.
Right.
You can pay for stock music, obviously, and I'm sure there is some good stuff out there, but we decided not to do that. Particularly earlier on, we were trying to do stuff
and
cheap.
Well, yeah, exactly. And the amount of comments we've had since then of people saying they
Yeah.
appreciate there not being any music.
And I think that is because obviously when you don't use music, the audio has to come from just natural sources. I think they call it diegetic music or something like diegetic sound, so it's kind of like from the natural environment. I think something like that.
I like the word.
I think it is anyway. So it's so all of our audio is you talking or the sounds of the trail, isn't it? The
Sounds
sound.
terrible.
I've got a spider back.
There's a spider and he won't leave me alone.
It's going right. Yeah.
There. Cynthia the spider. Come on, dear. Go and find somebody else to terrorise.
Yeah, so the sound in audio in our videos is all you talking or natural sounds that you get out and about.
I think you'll find the word is diegetic.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. So, can you imagine if I've told you it wrong? I just use that clip.
Yeah, please don't.
And I think that makes it feel more, the aim when I'm editing the videos and the way we do it is to it's always present, I hope. And when I'm watching, because I'm kind of a viewer when I'm putting them together,
Yeah.
I like it when it feels like I'm there with you, like I'm following along. And I think that
yeah.
having all the sound come from the moment worked well. And it does mean that, you said about how you can fall back on it. It can be a bit of a crutch, I think, the music when editing, because I think sometimes you've got these, say you've got some really great drone shots. It may be that you think, I want to use these shots, and then you put them in your video, and then you just fill the gaps with it. You fill the audio with music. Whereas if you haven't got that, you've got to use the natural sounds of, like, you, like we said earlier, if the drone shot's you riding on gravel, I've got to find some shot of you riding on gravel. And I think sometimes you can realise that as much as the drone shots are great to watch and they add so much to the video, if you drag a drone shot on for too long, it pauses the adventure, the flow. So I think it makes you much more aware of when, basically if I'm editing, if I find that I am watching it back and I'm bored of a section, not bored, but if I'm losing interest, if I'm losing interest, and that probably means the viewer's losing interest, so I change something.
They're not all like you. They're grown adults with proper attention spans. I know what you mean, though. No, that makes perfect sense.
I think I've said to you several times, just talk anytime you think of something to say, basically.
So it's your fault.
Which is why there's probably so many clips. But because that's the way that, we don't do voiceovers. I always tell you not to. I tell you, that's a slip, isn't it? I don't advise you. I don't advise you. I don't
one boss in this relationship.
I tell you, not to bother saying too much about what's coming up ahead, because obviously for you, you might be saying what's coming up that afternoon on the trail, or that later that day, or the next day. But for the video, it's 30 seconds later, maybe a minute later. So we have it, so it's all very present. You say what you're doing most of the time. There might be a little bit of, we've got this big climb coming up the next day, but mostly it's in the moment, isn't it? It's how you're feeling, it's what you're seeing, it's what's happening. It's almost like the framework, the structure of the video. You telling us the story, you telling us what's happening is kind of what all the other stuff builds around, like the clips, the riding shots, the drone stuff, and and I think there's the balance. I think you said earlier that if there's too much talking in a row, like I never like to have it where you talk in one spot, then talk in another spot, then talk in another spot. If there's not a journey in between, I like to show.
I did mention that, funnily enough. When I was on my own.
But anyway, that's the general. I think that's some of the stuff, like the general kind of thinking going in the video, because the actual editing process, the things I do editing are quite simple, but it's that judgment of where the clips are, where to cut a clip, where I want something, and the timing.
I would hate to be able to do it. In fact, I know for a fact I wouldn't be able to do it. I haven't got that kind of creative eye, I suppose.
You can overthink it, definitely. Sometimes I find myself cutting the riding shots short because there's so much other stuff, but then the riding shots are important. That's what the trail is,
true.
We want
people to see the trail. It's got to be difficult, and I see in the comments some people want more riding shots, some people want me to shut up and they don't want me in it at all. But you can't please all of them, especially those people. But we have to make that judgment. Or really, you do. You have to make that judgment. I don't. You could. The footage I give you, you could have videos with nothing of me in there
of course,
at all. So you make all those.
I think we might try that, mightn't we? I think we said.
No. You are. You're going to do it. Anyway.
We're going to try a long Trans Am, just the trail.
I hope that video doesn't do
that's
very well.
That's literally just for the people. All them comments over the years of like, I want to see the trail, not your face. Well, we're going to do that. There'll be a nice long video of the entire Trans Am, just the trail. See how that goes.
I hope it does badly.
I think that's kind of everything kind of around the editing, the kind of thinking behind it, and some of the decisions we made.
A lot to it.
And now I think, I don't like doing voiceovers, but I think that's the only way to do this, isn't it? So I think to actually show the full process of how we put together a video. You've done your filming, we've kind of had this chat, and then I need to show a little bit of how the editing works.
Definitely,
So I will do some Twitch style
screaming.
I don't think it'll be a little face in the corner.
No?
There'll be a voiceover.
I want you to do that. I think it'll be funny.
The face in the
Fair
corner.
enough.
Okay, so
I'll be interested to see it. I like to see this editing process myself. But in my mind, you get all the footage, you spend about 7 or 8 minutes putting it all together.
Usually.
And then put your feet up and
that's about it.
play some games or something.
That's it.
Thought
While the video uploads.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You should do it quicker.
I should. Okay, now for what will be my least favourite part of the video, doing a voiceover of the actual editing. For this, I'm just going to use a video that I've already done. So I'm going to use Tour Aotearoa video 4. So let's open that. So just for a very brief overview of the actual software that I'm looking at here. You import your files, they come in here. So as we said earlier, Matt uploads the files onto the cloud. I download them, I import them into here. So once they're in here, this is where they'll all be previewed. You can see here, and then you double click a video clip, and it comes into this preview window up here. This greyed out bar is the section where I've decided I want to use that part of the clip. I'll use this clip as an example. It's the first one. I've not really planned this out, but this shows a few things. So firstly, for speed, I scan through clips most of the time. When I first open them, I'll scan through to have a look what's in there. Obviously I can't hear the audio doing that, but I'll get an idea of what this clip is, and then I can think what I want to do with it. So I'll scan through. This was John here, packing his tent away. Matt obviously showing us his breakfast and his coffee. And then this is the section it looks like I chose to use. So over this side, top right here, is the actual video. So this is the preview again, but of the video as I've cut it together. And down here, the bottom right, is the timeline. So this is all the clips put in order. For anyone that knows editing, that edits, I'll just scan over. It's quite a simple timeline, mine. So you have basically on the top here is the video, on the bottom here is the audio. I mostly just have one track. I have a few little extra bits here with some sound when Matt's doing a drone shot or something, and I have these are graphics, so like the overlays of the names of places and things like that. But generally it's one layer for the most part, one track of each. So if we go back to the start, you'll see that was the preview over here, and this is what I put in. So I'll drag over, I use this little clip to show, Matt's up, Matt's having breakfast. Just again, it's a little bit of information without having to have time of Matt explaining things. I think there might be a clip later on where he does say a bit more about his breakfast. What he was doing that morning, I don't think I used any of that. I think it went straight into this clip here. Now this came from this one here. So this clip has got this bit at the start, which you can see I've used a section of, sort of a pan around the camp, and then Matt spins the camera onto him. Now what I've done here is I've decided I want to use that beginning bit. I want to use this pan around the camp, just a nice shot of the camp there. But to, again, keep things moving and use as much of the time I have, I've decided that some of Matt's introduction, some of the stuff he says here.
Good morning. You hear that bird?
So I've put that under the actual shot of the camp, because the alternative way to do that is to just have the shot of the camp with a nice ambient noise and then go into Matt talking. But as we can see from this window, it's first thing in the morning. He's probably only had 2 of his 5 morning coffees, not looking great. So I've obviously made the choice that we'd rather see the nice shot of the camp than Matt's face for any longer than we have to. And then once that little shot was finished here, once I've used as much of that as I can, then I have panned to Matt, and that's when I've decided to introduce the weather overlay as well. Just getting more information again, kind of using the time I have in the video as effectively as possible, I guess.
Such a peaceful chirp. Had a great night. Slept like a...
So we'll stop that there. I've taken this from the very beginning of the video that I've just opened, but I think it shows a few things that I do. I guess I'm trying to use the environment that Matt's showing us as often as possible, because as we said earlier, there's a lot of footage of Matt talking to camera because he's sharing the experience. He's telling us what he's seeing, what he's doing, how he's feeling, all of that sort of stuff. That's always going to be there. So I guess I'm kind of trying to use the face shots as little as I can, because there's going to be a lot of them anyway. A couple of other things from this clip. Audio it's a massively time consuming part of the editing. This track here is the audio. There's kind of 2 things I'm doing with the audio. I'm trying to keep it as level as possible. I don't want it to spike. So you may have noticed earlier, this bar here is the audio level. You don't want it to spike too high, because again, if you're listening with headphones, sudden loud noises, it's just off-putting. It's not nice. So I also have a thing that I add. I'll just show that quickly. Audio track mixer. And then here I've got this thing called a hard limiter. That's kind of a fail-safe for if certain parts of the audio clip, like maybe something gets dropped or something hits a table or something, it just goes loud for a second. I'll have done this audio leveling for the whole video, but then I'll add that on. That just creates a limit where the audio level can't go above a certain point. If anyone who does know how to edit has any tips for how to manage audio like this in a more effective way than I'm doing, then please tell me. But I used to do all of this, each clip individually. I would level the audio. There is a thing called loudness auto match, which is you press this and the idea is it sets the audio to a level which will be consistent throughout the video. Now this doesn't work as smoothly as you might hope. It's inconsistent. It seems to vary how loud it aims to get it depending on things like background noise. So there's still, even once you've done that helps, but then you still have to go through and manually check and make sure there's not any bits that are too loud or too quiet. So that's the kind of leveling of the audio. The next thing I'm doing with audio is, well, actually, I'll talk about transitions quickly. So transitions are these little rectangle boxes. So that's where I've put in some sort of joint between clips, a transition. I keep it very simple. Again, I just pretty much have a fade is the kind of only transition I use, and then audio transitions. So you'll notice I have a tiny little one on nearly every clip. With the GoPro, we noticed, and it's something I've found is a known thing that can occur, sort of when you put 2 GoPro clips together, when they go from one clip to the next, you can get a little audio click, just a little pop almost. And it did happen sometimes on early videos until I sort of figured it out. You can just put on these transitions, which are, I mean, this one's like 3 frames, very short. They don't affect the audio when you're actually watching it in any way. They just eliminate the risk of that little click that little audio pop. So that's why there's so many transitions on the audio. Mostly the video transitions I only really use when I'm trying to just show that sort of a scene is ending, that time is passing, we're going from one place to another. Yeah, it's almost just like a little visual cue that that bit has finished and the next bit has started almost. So here Matt was finishing talking and we've gone into a riding shot. So
Some other place.
and that fade, you can see it's very short. If you're not paying attention, you might not even notice it. And that's kind of what I want. I don't want these things to be very noticeable. Just moved on in the video a little bit to show one area we've got a drone shot. As Matt and I said earlier, I think drone shots have no audio. Obviously, they can't. So what I have to do is I find audio from a similar environment or similar terrain, really, is what I'm looking for, to put underneath it. Now, this is very quiet, this audio, because there's not really much ambient noise here. So what I've actually done is I've done 2 tracks. So I think this is ambience from when they were in camp, I believe. And then this audio track is Matt riding on gravel somewhere earlier in the video, and so this will match hopefully the sort of sound you would expect to hear from the gravel here as Matt's riding over. So we'll just play this bit here. You may not even hear it very clearly through here. It's sort of thing where with headphones I think you really do notice it. It does sound like it fits the environment. One last little section of the video here I'll use an example, because I'm conscious that this recording is really quite long. I'm going to have to cut it down, and I don't want this to be a rambling bit about the editing, which it's certainly becoming. But I will just show here. So this was the start of another day. So this morning here, I'm always looking for ways, as I said earlier, where I can use audio of Matt talking and use other video clips that show us something. I'll use this as an example. So this was the clip this audio actually came from. So this was obviously just getting up in the morning in camp.
Good morning. And it's a beautiful one. Check it out. Had a day off yesterday, didn't film a single thing. Went out, got some lunch, did a load of uploading. Few little jobs, but mainly just relaxed, which is what you have to do. I feel good for it. Today, we're going to head out, get some breakfast down the road in town, Whanganui. Can remember how to pronounce it now.
So here we can see Matt was talking about the lovely morning, and obviously we can see that in the clip, but it's nicer, I think, to be able to see that with a riding shot. So what I actually did here is I took all of that audio and I found that I had a nice lot of clips that I could use over the top of it. So I'll play this through here.
Good morning. And it's a beautiful one. Had a day off yesterday, didn't film a single thing. Went out, got some lunch, did a load of uploading. A few little jobs, but mainly just relaxed, which is what you have to do. I feel good for it. Today, we're going to head out, get some breakfast down the road in town, Whanganui. Can remember how to pronounce it now. And then I think we got an elevator of some sort, kind of a landmark for the trail, and a big climb. We're going to get 2/3 of the way up, so I think that's the plan. It may all change.
That's a particularly pleasing segment of the video for me, because there's often a lot of clips I want to use and a lot of audio that I want to use, and it's sometimes hard to match them up, whereas this is perfect. There's so much of the footage I can use in a short space of time, so yeah, ideal. So what I like to do is I edit through once. I literally watch a clip as I am editing it. Occasionally I have to track back a little bit if I'm changing something because of something else comes up later on. I do the audio as I go as much as I can, and then at the end I will usually then come back and do the graphics. So as you saw before, there's not many, but there's the text overlays of the places, and then on the tours something like this.
1,736 meters of ascent. That's a big day.
Just showing where Matt is, total miles, just again put it into some context. I don't like to do this too much. I don't like it to be sort of regularly throughout the day blocking the other stuff that we could be seeing, but you know, at the end of the video, at the start of the video, just so people see where Matt's got up to. I think that's useful. And then once that's done, I really only go through one more time. It takes quite a long time the second pass through, because what I'm doing the second time through is 2 things really. I'm looking for any other little changes I can make, anything I can cut. Sometimes I do find that I've maybe been too aggressive with the cuts, kept things moving too quickly, particularly riding shots. So sometimes I will actually extend the odd bit as well, but generally I'm looking for little bits I can cut still. Anything that doesn't work, as I said earlier, if something's just not holding my interest or feels a bit clunky, I'll try and rework it in some way. There's that, and the other thing is colour correction. So just an example, so I might raise the saturation a tiny bit just to bring out a bit more of the colours in the scene, tiny bit of raising exposure, just small little changes, lowering the shadows. You know, these are small things, and then what you can do is you can copy this for this whole series of clips and paste it over, so everything where the scene doesn't change, you can use the same colour correction for everything. It always saddens me a little bit that I didn't know to do this really, or it might not even have been an option on the old editing software we used, but I didn't do this for the GDPR movie. And if ever I see back parts of that, the colours just don't look as good as they could. I think if I edited that now, it would have been a visually more pleasing video. But, you know, that is what it is. Obviously, you learn these things over time. And then so once I'm completely happy with the video, all done, go to export. And then once that's exported, I take the file and go into a thing called YouTube Studio, upload the file, and then you give it your title, do your thumbnail, do all of that sort of stuff. And your video is ready to go. We can schedule it, we can put it up straight away, depending on how much of a rush I'm working at to get it finished. Often on these big trips, I pretty much finish editing it, upload it, and make it live all at the same time, effectively. And that's it, really. That's my side of things. I feel like it's been a bit of a rushed overview. I've probably missed some stuff, but the editing, it's a slow process, but it's basically what I've shown you, just repeated. It's looking over the clip, making the choices around how much I want to use of it, looking to see if I can find a way to show what's going on while Matt tells us at the same time. And then once it's all there, going through them steps I showed you, and then, yeah, just putting it out. It's a funny process because, as you see, I've got so much footage. I could edit a video, another person would come and edit the videos and do it completely differently. You could make an entirely different video from the same footage. So, as I said earlier, you can often second guess whether you've used it in the best way you can. But that's it, really. So, I think now we will cut back to me and Matt 2 days ago for a sign-off, because that's the way we decided to do this. So, there we go. Thank you.
So there you go. That was amazing. I've learned so much.
Good.
So much by watching that. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you liked it. It's one that a lot of people have requested, so yeah, and it's been a lot of fun to make, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting though, because I think there'll be a lot of people, hopefully some people are really into this side of things or find this fascinating, and people that maybe just like watching on the trips may skip past this. They might find it interesting.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll see.
So thank you for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Thank you to all the members and all the Ko-fi supporters. Thank you to all for watching, commenting, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Thank you.